Hey everyone, and welcome. So today, we're going to look at our organizations from a completely different angle. We're going to explore how a pretty fundamental shift in perspective can take these disconnected teams and turn them into a smooth, efficient flow of value. All right, let's just dive right in.
You ever been in this situation? You're on a great team, everyone is smart, everyone is capable, but the work just gets stuck, right? Projects slow down, handoffs between people or departments get messy, and it just feels like everyone's running hard but not really getting anywhere together. It's a super common problem, and it's incredibly frustrating.
Well, what if the problem isn't your people? What if it's not the teams at all? What if the real issue is just the way we've all been trained to look at our organizations? You know that traditional org chart with all the neat little boxes stacked on top of each other? That might actually be the very thing causing all the friction.
Yeah, this traditional way of thinking, we can call it management of processes. It's a worldview that basically sees a company as a collection of separate departments. You've got sales over here, operations here, finance over there, and each one has its own list of tasks and its own goals.
Okay, and this is where you can really see the difference. The old way, the traditional vision, it's all about making each department, each silo as efficient as possible all by itself. But the problem is, it's all done in these watertight compartments. The new vision, though, it's focused on something totally different, making the flow of value better across the entire company from start to finish.
So what's the alternative? Well, it's a huge shift in thinking, a real paradigm shift to what we call management by processes. And this isn't just some small change. This is about completely rethinking what we manage. It's about looking at your organization horizontally, across the whole company, instead of just vertically, up and down the departments.
And this picture just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got that classic org chart, the silos. But on the other, we're seeing the company through the lens of its processes. Just look at how the work, the actual value you're creating for the customer, flows horizontally, right through all those vertical departments. It's literally a 90-degree turn in how we think.
So the takeaway here is that in this new vision, the processes are the star of the show. Departments don't just vanish, but their whole role changes. They become contributors, right? They have specific jobs to do within a bigger cross-functional process. And, for any of this to actually work, information can't be locked away in silos anymore. It has to be shared openly so that the whole flow keeps moving.
Now, managing this flow isn't just a feel-good philosophy. There's actually some real science behind it. There's this incredibly simple but powerful formula called Little's Law, and it basically governs the physics of how work moves through any system. It connects your speed, your output, and your investment. Let's break down the three parts.
Okay, first up, process time, or TP. This is just the total time it takes for one single thing to get all the way through your system, from the very beginning to the very end. Think about a coffee shop. It's the time from when a customer orders a coffee to the second that finished drink is in their hands. This tells you how agile you are. How fast can you get one thing done?
Next, we've got cycle time, or TC. Now, this is different. This is the average time between finished items coming out of your process. So if a new car rolls off your assembly line every 60 seconds, your cycle time is 60 seconds. This is a direct measure of your productive capacity. It tells you how much stuff you can actually make over time.
And finally, there's work in progress, or WIP. This one's easy. It's just the total number of items, all the half-finished stuff, that are inside your process at any given moment. So if you've got 50 orders for coffee being made right now, your WIP is 50. And financially, this is your investment. It's all the money and resources you have tied up in things that aren't actually delivering value to a customer yet.
And here is where it all clicks into place. Little's Law tells us that your cycle time equals your process time divided by your work in progress. This simple little equation connects the three things you can control, and it shows you exactly why silos are so bad. Every time there's a slow handoff between departments, your process time goes up, which, as the math shows us, hurts your overall output.
And here's the big business lesson. If you want to be more profitable, which means making more stuff or lowering your cycle time, the formula tells you that for a certain amount of investment, you have to get more agile. You have to lower your process time. Being fast isn't just about making customers happy. It's a direct line to making more money.
So this all sounds great, but how do you actually do it, right? How do you go from this theory to making it happen in the real world? Well, thankfully, there's a practical step-by-step guide for doing just that. It's called the 7-stage method.
And here's the whole journey, right here. It's a structured way to get you from understanding what's wrong today all the way to having a new, improved process that you can keep an eye on and keep making better.
And it all builds on itself. You start by defining the problem, and then identifying the critical processes that are causing it. Then you map out the current process, how things really work today, not how they're supposed to. After that, you analyze that map to find all the waste and the bottlenecks. Then comes the creative part. You plan the ideal map, what you want the future to look like. And the last steps are about bridging the gap, converging the two maps, and then setting up a system to monitor performance going forward.
This visual really gets to the heart of the whole thing. On the left, that's your current map. It's often this chaotic, complicated reality of how work stumbles through the organization. The entire point of this exercise is to turn that into the ideal map on the right, something that's clean, logical, and just flows.
And how do you get from that messy map to the clean one? By asking a simple question for every single step. For every task in your process, you have to ask, does this actually add value that the customer cares about? If the answer is no, you figure out how to get rid of it. And if the answer is yes, you figure out how to do it better and faster.
So after all this work, what does good actually look like? How do you know when you've got a really well-managed process? Well, the goal is to get your process under control. And to do that, it has to meet 3 specific conditions.
So, what exactly does that mean, to be under control? Well, a process that's truly managed and ready for you to keep improving it has to be understood, documented, and measured. Let me break that down.
First, it has to be understood. Everybody involved has to be on the same page about why this process even exists and how it helps the company succeed. Second, it's got to be documented. That means you need a clear flowchart, a visual map, so there's absolutely no confusion about how the work gets done. And third, it has to be measured. You need clear KPIs, or key performance indicators, so you can track how it's doing and know for a fact if it's working well.
When a process checks all 3 of those boxes, you've officially moved out of the chaos of silos and into a state of controlled, efficient flow. And that gives you a much, much better platform for managing your work and always getting better. So I'll leave you with this question. When you think about your own organization, which process are you going to put under control first?